Guys, ETH here, and well, Nintendo's added has announced three new games coming to Nintendo Switch Online, and they're not a huge win for the subscribers. And I'll get into why in this video. These games, obviously, Super Mario Advance, Super Mario World, old Super Mario Advance 2, and Yoshi's Island Super Mario World, Super Mario Advance 3. This is not a win for people who pay for the expansion pass, because the expansion pass is like $35 a year, and yes, these are GBA games, and the Game Boy Advance GBA is probably Nintendo's best handheld of all time. But these editions aren't really new titles; they are just essentially remakes of games that are already on the service, which is quite disheartening. It's quite it's quite nasty. It's not that good. Now, why is it like this? Well, first of all, guys, we already have these games on Switch Online, the original version of these games from the NES and Super Nintendo versions. Thankfully, because these games were added back in 2018, 2019, right? We also have Super Mario All Stars on the Super Nintendo library, which is all the original Mario games in one collection. So these three games, like I think one adds 60 levels and one adds a little mini game, but besides that, I don't see why anyone would be rushing to pick these up or rushing to subscribe to play these games. Because not being funny, Switch Online when it comes to like the game editions, they've been trying to like add stuff consistently, but they've been going like really slowly with a lot of the stuff, and a lot of stuff isn't that much of a draw. Like they already have a majority of the N64 games that people actually want to play, so they haven't really got much they can add from that lineup. The Game Boy and Game Boy Advance are the two that they have basically just added to the system. What with these Game Boy Advances like 12 games, I think Game Boy has like 10. And they need to put more emphasis on the Game Boy Advance stuff, because obviously some of these games are like wicked expensive now. You can't just go out and buy some of these games anymore. I know because I did a deal with Sasha the Sloth recently, and she was basically the games that I got. One of them was like 60 quid, and that was a Pokemon game. And I understand that's another big thing with Switch Online as well. It's like it's missing the most mainline Pokemon games, because Nintendo doesn't actually fully own the company. They can't obviously just put the games on there because it might conflict with what the Pokemon company wants to do with their own games. So I don't think we're going to see Pokemon. Also, where's games like F Zero, Fire Emblem, those Kirby games that could be added. There's not. There's not. It's quite disheartening because Nintendo has such a huge backlog of games. They could easily have made Switch Online, the creme de la creme of retro gaming, the must-have retro game service. Did they? No. They've instead resorted to basically drip feeding games that, like 20, 30, 40, 50-year-old games that people want to play now, but they're like, oh, yo, you got to pay a subscription. I don't mind the subscription aspect. I actually think it's a good idea, because obviously if you keep adding more games and you have quite a large library, then yeah, sure, it'll cost you more in the long term than just buying the game. But obviously, if you don't have like 130 quid to buy Pokemon Red in complete box, you can still experience the game on the service. Problem is though, like Nintendo is not in the games that people want. They're not adding enough games, and they're just like, this is the first time we get a bulk of free Game Boy Advance games, right? Before this, we obviously had the app launch, and then we had Metroid Zero Mission. Cool, cool. But where's the variety? Considering that out of those 12 Mario game, well, out of those 12 12 GBA games, a majority of them are Mario games. So if you take out Minish Cap, Metro Zero Mission, and Kuru Kuru Kurin, the other 9 games are tied to Mario in some way. I know someone will argue, oh, but one is a Wario game. Yeah, one's a Wario game, and Wario is a spin off of Mario. You got Mario Kart Super Circuit. There's just, GBA had such a huge library of games. The Zelda Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons games doesn't come to mind. Where are they? I mean, Pokemon would be brilliant, but obviously Nintendo has issues with licensing those games, because they don't have much control of the company. They only have like, it's weird. They own like a third or a quarter of the company, but they don't fully own it. So they make the games are only on Switch on Nintendo platforms, but I don't get how that works. I don't understand the whole business model of that. I don't know why Nintendo's just fully acquired Pokemon Company or put something in the agreements that they can put their old games in on obviously Switch Online or whatever. But I digress. Also, it's just kind of weird because Switch Online doesn't really seem to offer people much when it comes to the way of like what you would really want to play at the minute. Because if you pay for the expansion pass, sorry, I just tapped the mic. That's £35 a year. I know it's $50, but obviously in the UK it's £35 for the year. And the game lineup that's like only on the expansion pass is pretty dreadful, you know, because we have all the stuff from the original, from the obviously the main service, but then the expansion pass is like, oh, here's some N64 games, which a lot of them aren't emulated properly and have terrible audio or visual glitches. Likewise, if you look at the Mega Drive collection, which I'll be honest, right? Can we stop with the Mega Drive re-releases? Yes, I have stock in Sega. Yes, I want Sega to make money, but I'm getting sick and tired of seeing Mega Drive games re-released every console generation. It's really annoying. We get it, they are great games, they need to be preserved, but do you have to release a new collection every few months or every generation of consoles? It's very annoying. And it's just like, come on, like, do we really need another Sega Mega Drive collection when you already have when basically the last one was basically the main one because it had like 60 games. And they're like, oh, we're gonna put some games on the Switch Online. Great, but they're so random with those ones as well. Like Sonic Hedgehog 2 is on there, but not the first game. It's really weird. Then you've got the GBA library. The GBA library is huge. For a system that only really had a lifetime of about 4 years, the library of the GBA is huge. Games like WarioWare Inc. Like, where's that game? I know I just complained about having too many Mario related games. Where's WarioWare? Come on, WarioWare. Does that Oracle of Ages games come up again? The original Fire Emblem was on the Game Boy Advance. I think. I think it was on the Game Boy Advance or it was on the Game Boy. I was one of the two. I know it was on it was on one of them. But is Nintendo actually adding these games and offering this value? No, they're offering free remakes of Mario games that we already had on the service twice. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. Because people don't realise this, but I unsubscribed to Switch Online months ago because the games they were offering weren't valuable enough to me. It didn't, to me, feel like they was offering a much variety in the way of the library they were offering or the content they was offering or the IPs that they were coming from. Because, where... Like, this also sets up a problem that Nintendo might do. Because back on the Game Boy Advance, there was the NES Classics collection where they basically took NES games and put them on Game Boy Advance cartridges, 20 quid a pop. Are they going to start re-releasing them on the GBA library? Are we like just not going to see games like WarioWare and Zelda Oracle of Ages and whatnot? And we're just going to see these NES ports of these NES games on the GBA. Because if so, like, what is Nintendo doing? I understand that people want to have all the versions of these games available. That's fine. I understand that. But like, people celebrating like getting these versions of these Mario games, which come from an era where portable versions of home console games were rarely the same and really that good compared to the home console version. It's a little crazy to me. It's a little taking me aback. To me, I feel like Nintendo has a few options that they can do to really improve this. They can obviously look into their own back catalogue and try and get some more stuff out quicker, because obviously these Mario games are going to like fall on deaf ears because the games have been so played to death. No one's going to really care. They could get a deal with the Pokemon Company sorted so they can put the Pokemon games on there. Like, not even like all the main ones, just a few of them, I know Fire Red, Leaf Green, Emerald, Sapphire, Ruby, any of them. Pokemon Crystal, any of them. Just get any of them and put them on there. I think that would improve the game library and game offerings so much more. Or they could continue to overlook these important titles and some of their huge legacy games from these systems and just jump to do DS straight away. Because I've made a video talking about I want DS on there, but like to me, I just want the Switch Online to actually represent an actual like history, a comparative history of Nintendo games and Nintendo consoles, which allows you to play any game from Nintendo's history, or at least from their hardware, up until obviously modern day. Obviously, you haven't got to buy the games in modern day. To me, I feel like Nintendo needs to obviously not only do they need to sort of Game Boy Advance and GBA and Game Boy libraries out, they also need to go back through their own history and sort of like add stuff that didn't work. You know, like I'd also like to see stuff like the Virtual Boy. I know Virtual Boys are like 12 games. Like add the Virtual Boy library. You know, people are like, oh, but the Virtual Boy is bad. Yeah, but it would be cool to see those games available on a new platform, and they have not been re-released since the system came out. So that'd be kind of cool. You know, same with 2DS, same with 3DS. Do all those games, right? And then obviously slowly expand the main home console library over time. You know, so do 2DS do DS and 3DS as well, and obviously maybe on the next Switch you do GameCube. You know, and then after a little while maybe you add Wii, but like you focus on like Switch stuff will stay on as like purchasable content whilst you know everything else is like a subscription. That to me would be fine. But I don't know, guys. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? If you do, make sure to subscribe, like, share, comment, turn notifications. I've been EFK, and I'm signing out. Peace.